Welcome back to the Alpha Primal Podcast.
Hey guys.
We are on episode number 13, my favorite number. So that means it must be good.
Why is it your favorite number?
Because there's lots of reasons. It's my birthday,
That's
the 13th grandchild. I was kind of gross to think about, but conceived on 1313. That was a house number.
That's gross.
Kind of. Anyway.
Whatever. Parents have sex too. We're parents now. We have sex too.
Okay. That's how we're starting off the episode.
Getting real.
This is take number 3.
We had some technical difficulties the first couple times.
So let's hope for a better episode.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So last week's episode was a part 2 of the 1%
Well, let's tell people where they can start hearing our podcasts.
Okay, where can they hear it?
We are now on Spotify.
Spotify, wow.
Well, I got it on Spotify. Podbean.
Podbean.
We are on Anchor. You can look us up on Anchor.com. YouTube and Facebook. Those seem to be a popular brand, especially for our vlog. Viewing our video blog. You seem to be struggling with your microphone over there.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have done something about that before the episode.
But anyways.
Okay. Better?
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right.
I never did anything for you.
Okay.
Anyway, let's get back into the episode.
Last week's episode was the 1% rule. So we also been talking about the 30-day challenge. So let's kind of recap. How's your challenge been going?
First week of the challenge, it's been pretty good so far. Got all my movements in. Those seem to be a little bit easier for me. Easier for me to get in. Like I said, I've done a pretty good job about knowing when I need or when I can get movement into my day. Took a big recall of that, and so I was able to get a lot of my movements in and did some extra movements, and sat in the squat a little bit longer than 30 minutes a couple days. For my hanging, I'm hanging 7 minutes.
All right.
By the end of the challenge, I want to try to see how short of a time it takes me. So
The
7 minutes.
Smallest amount of rest.
Yeah. So if I can get that 7-minute hang in 10 to 12 minutes, that's the goal. 10 minutes is the goal. 10 minutes is the goal. 12 minutes 12 to 15 minutes I'll start off with. And then going from there. But yeah, the challenge has been going well. I would say the biggest challenge so far would have been last night when we went out to
Italian restaurant.
For
your mom's birthday.
Yeah, that was the biggest challenge. But didn't drink. Didn't have a.
Shout out to Natalie. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Natalie. Yeah. 31.
Day challenge. So yeah, that was a little bit more difficult, but that's when you just try your best and you do what you could do.
That's why it's a challenge. That's why it's called a challenge. Yeah, absolutely.
So the nutrition has been the hardest part?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm a big snacker, especially at night. I like my snacks. I like my chips.
Did going to bed earlier help?
Yes, and that's been another thing. The going to bed earlier, phone fast. I've been loving the phone fast.
Nice.
Get home. There was only one day where I didn't have my phone or didn't turn off my phone at 8 p.m. But I was at work.
Okay.
I worked till 9.
Well, that is why.
Yeah, and my wife decided to give me a hard time the morning after. She's like, you were on your phone after 8 p.m. I'm like, I was also at work trying to text you saying that I'm coming home. So.
No excuses.
Right when I got home, I turned it off. It was off once I walked through that threshold. So the point of the challenge, which was to spend more quality time together as a family at the end of the day, still rang true.
Okay.
I made sure that I was keeping in touch with you on my way home, not texting and driving, anti-texting and driving.
Right.
But that was the only day I didn't turn it off. And I physically actually turn my phone off every night. Ashley doesn't go that far as to turn off her phone, but I turned off my phone every night at 8 p.m. And I've been getting to bed pretty early. For me, at least.
Definitely.
For me.
I've been impressed.
So.
Well, everything's been going pretty well for me.
Mm-hmm.
I got in my squats and my hangs, and
How's the hanging been going for you?
It's going fine. I've been doing 30-second increments. Got in 3 workouts. Got to go to the gym this week.
Yes, you
so
did.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Got to work out with the barbell, so a little bit heavier of a weight than what we have at home. So it was a good challenge.
Good. How are you feeling after it?
A little sore, but to be expected. Also, my nutrition has been going good.
Yeah.
Besides having a few cravings for chocolate, which is my one indulgence that is kind of hard to crack. But that's why it's good to do this, to kind of break the habit of eating chocolate every day.
Right.
Which is pretty much what I did.
Right.
I have a sweet tooth. Thanks, Dad. But
I was not me, Dad. Your dad.
Thanks, my dad. Yes. No. But so I've been doing pretty well. And the other thing that is more of a challenge for me is the meditation.
Mm.
So I don't really like to sit down and kind of relax and clear your mind, and my mind goes everywhere, so it's important to bring it back to the breath and to kind of have that focus. So what I've been doing is using the Fitbit. It has a relax mode setting, and then you can set the time. So I've been setting it for 5 minutes. And basically what it does is it senses your breath and vibrates when you should breathe in, and then vibrates breathe out.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of like helps bring your mind back to your breathing.
Yeah. Point.
Yeah. So
whatever that focal point is, whether it be breath or anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's any beginners out there, that's a good idea if you have a Fitbit to try that, because that's been helping me.
Yeah. And one piece of advice that I like to give everybody, and one, I know my mom claims this a lot. She's like, "Oh, my mind just wanders. I don't have the attention span to meditate." Trust me, I have ADD. I get it. I mean, it's really hard to focus, but meditation is not necessarily about having a clear mind for 10 minutes. It's really about bringing that thought to a focal point for that 10 minutes. So when you let your mind start wandering off, or when you notice your mind starts wandering off, bring it back to that focal point, whether it be breath or whatever that focal point may be. Always bring it back to that focal point, and concentrate and really allow yourself to focus and to relax.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been helping me.
Well, yeah, I hope it's been going well for everybody else.
Yeah, if you haven't started any challenge, it's never too late. You can always jump on the wagon and do a 21-day challenge.
Absolutely.
So it's never too late, and if you mess up and if you fudge a day up, then restart the next meal or the next day. So don't be discouraged.
Yeah, I actually just before we jumped on this podcast, I read a post on our page from Ashley Oliver. Shout out. She was like, "Oh, I did really well as far as the nutrition goes. The workouts were not necessarily as good for her, but." She was very positive. She was like, "Oh, I'm going to get back on it this week," and that's the goal. That's the point of this. If you obviously she did really well in one aspect, and she's got something that she wants to work on this week, and that's what you do. You continue that 1%. Look to see what you can improve the 1%, and do that. Focus on that. Focus on what you've done positive, and keep moving forward. Right.
All right. Well, let's get into this week's episode. It's Mythbusters. It's going to be a 2-part episode because we have lots of myths to bust.
We do. There was as I was traversing the internet and going through the bowels of the internet, I was just seeing a bunch of random, non-factual, and not even non-factual, non-evidence-based stuff. And that's a lot of where I just don't understand. Well, I had a quote, and I should probably pull this up. I had a quote that I wanted to, before we get into this Mythbusters here, so excuse me for being on my phone here, but I wanted to read this before we got into our Mythbusters. It was a quote that I thought rang really true for a lot of people. and it says, when scientific conversation ceases, then dogma rather than knowledge begins to rule the day. And I can't tell you how many times I run into that. I mean, it's somebody reads something somewhere or sees something somewhere or it worked for someone somewhere, and all of a sudden it becomes just like everything that they wrap their mind around, and that's the only thing that they believe. And it's like, well, I read about this in this one magazine, and it's like, why are you getting your nutritional advice from a magazine?
Well, that was the other thing we saw. Don't get your nutrition advice from Netflix, Pinterest, or the aisle at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Those magazines that are like, lose 10 pounds in 10 days.
Yeah. It's just
do your research.
Yeah.
Try to lose the weight the right way.
Yeah. And then there was a post that you sent me, or something that you showed me today. That was like, when your child is, or when your dog is overweight, you feed them less and walk them more. When your child is overweight, you feed them less and you play more.
When you're overweight, you drink shakes and eat a protein bar and
Buy dietary supplements.
Yeah.
And but it's absolutely that is the 100% the truth. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, what can I take to start losing weight? I'm like, what do you mean? What can you take?
Right.
There's nothing you could take. You could eat less. You could diet. You could clean up your nutrition a little bit. You can move more. But if you're saying, what kind of caffeine or what kind of pill can I take to get better, I'm like,
no.
That's the wrong attitude to have. So I am looking forward to this episode, and this is going to probably be a 2-part episode, but I'm looking forward to these episodes just to really get people to understand that some of the terrible ideas that are out there, and I don't want to say terrible ideas, but some of the misconstrued ideas that are out there.
Things that I've definitely believed before too. So it's not saying if you believe this that you're dumb or something.
Yeah, no, that's not what we're saying.
It's about having a belief and then finding out if it's valid or not, and doing the research and getting properly educated.
It's that like we were just saying, it's that scientific conversation. You don't want to go into it with this predetermined belief, and it's like if you're coming into the conversation with a full cup, it's really hard to continue to fill that cup.
Right.
Come into it with sort of that open mind. Come into it with that empty cup, and let's just start filling it.
Yeah.
So let's get into what's our first myth.
Myth number 1: exercise should be exhausting. Soreness is a good sign of a good workout, and you must go 100% all the time.
I put these are 3 different ideas, or I guess 3 different beliefs, but they all sort of wrap into one together. That 100%, and I do think that exercise to exhaustion and that working out to 100% every time sort of go together really well, and which will lead to soreness. If I'm going 100% and I'm getting myself to the point where I'm sore, a lot of times I hear where it's I worked out on Monday and I was really, really sore the next day, so I didn't work out, and then it was even more sore that 48 hours, because I always say, if Pat doesn't get you today, Dom's will get you tomorrow. That delayed onset muscle soreness will get you tomorrow and the next day. But now all of a sudden you've taken 2-3 days off in between your workouts because of that soreness, and I'm not saying you've lost those days, but you're not getting the most out of those days that you probably could have. If you would have just backed off a little bit on that first workout, then come to the next day, and you might be a little bit sore, but it's nothing that you can't move through, and there's certain things that you can do for recovery. A lot of times I like to give people the example of the different types of systems that we have in our body. Our peripheral nervous system, our central nervous system. We have our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. If we're continuing to work our sympathetic nervous system, that's our fight or flight one. If we're continuing to work our sympathetic nervous system, let's say we have a really stressful job, and then we get into the gym and we stress our body out even more. And well, you're continuing to work that sympathetic nervous system.
Right.
You're gonna burn out. You're gonna get exhausted. You're gonna get tired and sore and potentially injured.
All factors of stress.
All factors of stress
affect that.
Yeah, that's why you see people who do yoga and they love that yoga because they're sitting there working their sympathetic nervous system throughout the entire week. That when they get into a workout or a gym or a movement, working that parasympathetic nervous system is extremely important. You want to make sure that you are counteracting what we're doing during the day. One of the and that goes into the 100%. Don't work out to 100% every single time. I give CrossFitters a hard time for this because every workout they're doing, every time they step into the gym, it's balls to the wall. You have
100%.
trying to get the workout in as fast as possible or as many reps as possible.
Laying out flat out on the ground after the workout.
And it's a great workout. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely days where I do that style of workout. I should say not CrossFit, and I get shit for this all the time at the gym. At 2XL, 2XL it's a powerlifting gym, so there's a lot of powerlifters that go there. And one thing about powerlifters is they don't really know what muscular endurance or muscular strength, or not. I shouldn't say that. They know what muscular strength, but muscular endurance is something that they give me shit for all the time.
Yeah.
And they're like, whenever they see me do my workout, they're like, "Oh, hashtag CrossFit." I'm like, it's not. It's CrossFitness. And I'm very adamant about saying the style that I do is CrossFitness. And what the difference between that is I don't like to cut that corner. So I put the fitness back into that fit.
Yeah.
I don't like to cut the corner there where it's doing an exercise or doing an Olympic lift fast and unsafe. And I mean, I've been trained on the Olympic lifts for the last 2 decades. I've been doing it for 20 years. And there are still times where it scares me some of the moves that these people who aren't trained on it do.
That's what always made me nervous when I did CrossFit, was when you were doing the actual workouts and you were doing the lifts and stuff in a really fast pace. And if you doing a heavier weight too, you're definitely putting yourself risk for injury.
100%. Yeah, and I love the Olympic lifts. I still do the Olympic lifts.
But not fast.
Not fast. Yeah, I mean, I'm very adamant about making sure my form is correct. I'm not ripping through these reps. I want to do an actual pull-up, not these weird little butterfly pull-ups.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, if CrossFit is your thing, if that's what gets you motivated and that's what you do, great. Continue doing it. It's getting you moving. I like the culture of the gym. I like the culture of CrossFit. It does create that atmosphere of everybody sort of working together. It's bringing that community back to fitness, which I think is a huge, huge thing that we've stepped away from with these gyms. A lot of people throw their headphones in and then just, mindlessly go to the gym. But I mean, having that community feel is definitely important. I just want people to be safe. I want it to be done the correct way. So
definitely,
the way I have you training is CrossFit-esque, but it's CrossFitness,
right?
Working multiple muscle groups. Yeah.
Definitely.
So.
And I also wanted to point out for the soreness thing. I mean, it's not a bad thing to be sore. Sometimes, you do get sore when you're working out a new muscle group or working out, restarting for the first time. Like I definitely have experienced it after taking, a couple months off. So, you are going to get sore every once in a while, but it's about not pushing yourself to the extreme all the time. Like one of the primal blueprint laws is sprint once in a while. You don't want to be stressing your body out all the time. So once a week doing a hit, or once every 10 days, something like that, that's more of a ideal plan for your body.
Yeah, stick to if you're going balls to the wall, once, twice a week, once every twice every 10 days, you're doing pretty well. That's usually where I'm at. I'm usually going 100% 2 days out of 10 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one.
What's the next one?
The next one, and we actually had a couple comments on this week, was eggs give you high cholesterol.
Yeah, and I kind of blame this one on like the media as like a reason why people believe this. And well, first of all, your body is made up of cholesterol.
Correct.
And 25% of it is found in your brain.
Correct. So you need it.
Right. That's pretty important.
It is pretty important.
And also, when you're looking at the egg, a lot of the nutrients are actually in the egg yolk.
Yes.
The majority of them. And I read something say that every vitamin and mineral that your body needs is found in an egg.
Most of them. Most, if not every.
Yeah. So, I mean, think about that. This is a nutrient-dense food.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we going to take out the most nutrient part of it, the egg yolk, and just eat the egg white? You know, what is the point of that?
Yeah.
Think about other things that you may be eating that is causing the high cholesterol. Like if you're going to McDonald's and getting an egg McMuffin, I mean, it's probably best. I mean, at that point, what's the big deal about the yolk? You're already eating something from McDonald's that is processed and
that's not
put in vegetable oils and all that stuff. So, I mean, look at the other foods that you're eating in your diet first, then the most natural thing out there, that is the actual egg. I mean, that is something coming from a chicken. It's one ingredient. There's other things that you're eating, I'm sure, that are worse for you and are making you have the high cholesterol. You know, the solution I think they have for high cholesterol besides the pill would be eat better and work out more, or move more.
Right.
So I mean, look at your diet as a whole before you start cutting out the egg yolk, and look and see what other kind of foods that you're eating that are inflaming your body, giving you that type of response. Because the egg and the cholesterol from the egg is not it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Yeah, and that's a big part of it is look at what other foods you're eating, and even eating with the eggs. You know, what are you eating that's going to cause the high cholesterol more than the eggs? I think it's very it does a very disservice when somebody says, oh yeah, eggs gives you high cholesterol. Yeah. It really doesn't. No.
Now, if you are allergic to eggs or something, then don't eat eggs. But if you're not, then don't discriminate against eggs.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that if you are able to buy the higher quality, that's the better for you, because that's packed with more nutrients.
Yeah.
You know, if you can actually get them from someone with chickens, that's the best type.
Yeah,
that's
we
the best type of
gotta
egg.
find a friend with chickens.
We do.
Yeah. Or we can just have some chickens ourselves.
Maybe when we get in a house.
True.
We don't really have a spot for a chicken coop.
No, I don't think so. I don't think we can't just have them running around outside, can we? Probably not. No, but I think that's a great point. I do think it is important to look at other avenues. I don't think eggs gives you high cholesterol.
No.
I really don't. Unless, like I said, unless you're eating an ungodly amount of eggs.
Like who?
Like my friend Gaston. You know, he eats four dozen eggs every morning to help him get large. You know, if you're eating that crazy amount, yeah, maybe let's back the hell off on the eggs, because you don't need 4 to 5 dozen eggs.
I mean, that's expensive.
It's expensive. But yeah, eating 1 egg a day, eating 2 eggs a day, that's not going to be contributing to your high cholesterol. I guarantee you, if you have high cholesterol and you say your nutrition is good, it's just the eggs that are doing it, I'm going to say, think again.
Let's really see what you're eating.
True. Yeah.
All right, next myth is workout. Oh, wait. You can outwork a bad diet.
Oh, yes. All the men in my family, including myself, at one point I subscribed to this. Oh, yeah. I was a track athlete in college. I wanted to, I was taking in probably 10,000 calories. But when it comes to outworking a bad diet, I'm going to say nothing really outworks a bad diet. you may look like you're in shape, you may feel good, but internally there's going to be something that's going on. There's going to be something that is going on, whether it be cardiovascularly, just any, it's tough to sit there and say like I can eat whatever I want and then erase that by working out.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
A lot of it also has to do with how your body is responding to the food that you're eating. So, I mean, if you're eating this burger, your body's going to be inflamed from, the processed food or depending on what you're eating. So you can't outwork inflammation or high insulin or high blood sugar spiking.
Yeah.
So you really have to think about, what you're consuming and before you start thinking about, I can just work out. I always love those like Halloween memes that say like, if I eat a Snicker, I can, work it off by doing like 20 push-ups or something.
They always have like what it will take to work this, like what exercise it will take to work off this one, whatever you decide to
do
have.
it for like Thanksgiving too. Like, no, just eat your Thanksgiving dinner and don't care about it and get back on track the next day.
Right. And that's what the holidays are for. If you're eating properly throughout the year, one day, one holiday is not going to all of a sudden break it. If that holiday turns into a week, a month
until Christmas,
a month until Christmas, then it's going to be more effective. But it's going to affect you more. But to sit there and say, I can't have this Thanksgiving dinner because it's going to throw me off on my diet. That's not going to happen. Enjoy it. Don't enjoy the dinner. And last night we technically could have probably indulged a little bit because we were really good throughout the whole week, but it's a 30-day challenge, and that's the point of it.
Right.
The point of this one was a challenge. Come Thanksgiving, I'm not going to care. We're going to come off of this 30-day challenge. We're going to do really well, and then we're going to indulge on Thanksgiving. But after Thanksgiving, we're going to get back on it and implement those habits that we've created throughout the 30-day challenge.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that one, I would not say it's a good idea to think that you can outwork a bad diet, or say that I work out so that I can eat whatever I want. That's not the attitude to have. You're going to be affected some way or another. I've seen some of the healthiest looking people drop dead from a heart attack, and it's just because their diet was, high cholesterol, high fats. You gotta pay attention to what you're putting into your body.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Next one. Workouts should be at least an hour.
That's what I used to subscribe to. I used to always try to aim for that hour point.
Yeah. Why?
Just because I felt like if I got an hour in, then that was pretty good amount of calories I burned.
Now, during that time, were you doing an hour straight through? Was it like you didn't stop moving for that entire hour?
Most of the time. I would do, maybe some cardio, then do some strength, then do some abs. So, like, it would be mixed up. But I wouldn't be, like, doing one lift.
Jumping on your phone for the next 5 minutes and then doing another lift. That's not an hour, people. If you're jumping on your phone in between each lift or you're sitting there talking and gabbing, that's not a full hour.
So you don't need an hour?
No, I don't believe so. No. I rarely do an hour. I rarely have time for an hour.
Right. And most people don't have time.
And most people don't have that kind of time. But that was the point of this challenge, and the reason I put so many different movements in on this challenge is, throughout the day, if you notice that it will take up an hour, like it will be an hour that I do something, but it's not an hour in a chunk of time. It's not that block hour where I had to set this entire hour aside, or if I'm traveling to the gym, now all of a sudden it becomes an hour and a half to 2 hours. To travel to the gym, change, get my hour workout in, change again, and then come home. Just some people don't have the time. So if you're sitting there saying like, I don't have an hour today to get my workout in, do you have 10 minutes? Do you have 20 minutes?
Yeah.
You can do something for that 10 to 20 minutes. You can do something for 5 minutes.
And most of my workouts now have been about 30 to 45 minutes, and I've been feeling pretty good.
By the way, how much are you down from when you had Arden?
Oh, from when I had her?
Yeah.
Like 20 pounds?
Yeah, that's awesome. 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
3 months, 20 pounds. Yeah, but I mean that's because and you weren't working out for that entire time.
No.
You
I was
got
doing
back
a lot
up.
of movement and
You were getting a lot of movement and you were like bouncing the baby
a
lap.
lot of laughing and bouncing.
Yeah, no, but that's what it is. You're getting a lot of movement, and so if you break it down, the amount of movement you're getting in a day is well over an hour.
Right.
But it's not all in that 1 hour, like this chunk of time that I had to take out of my day. My little brother actually, I'm going to call him out. I'm sorry, Vinny, calling you out right now. But Vince, one of the conversations, or some of the conversations that him and I have had about his programming, as as we've been talking week to week, he has an hour for lunch, and he has that time for lunch, and he's like, yeah, by the time I'm changed and I get down there, I really only have about 40 minutes because then I have to change again and get back up. So I don't, I just don't have time. I'm like, you have 40 minutes. What do you mean you don't have time? Like that?
Even if you have 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't understand where you all of a sudden you think you don't have time. I mean, take 15 minutes, take 10 minutes, even if it's just like, even if you have that half an hour for lunch. Does it take you a half hour to eat your lunch? And if not, maybe we'll go out for a walk for 10 minutes and then come back and eat your lunch.
Right.
Or eat your lunch and then go for a walk. Like, eat while you walk. Do something. But to sit there and say, oh, I only have 40 minutes, so I don't have time. What? You have 40 minutes.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't have time? That doesn't make any sense.
Make the time.
So it's making the choice, really. It's not about making the time. It's making the choice.
Yeah.
So you chose to not do anything for that 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Just like while I'm watching my TV or watching my Netflix,
You could be doing something while you watch. You don't have to just be
mindlessly watching that TV. And if you can pause. There is such thing as a pause button on your TV if you're watching Netflix. I'm just saying you can pause it, do something for 5 minutes, and then get back to watching it again.
That's true.
It's crazy to me that people think that they don't have time. You have so much more time than we think we do.
Yeah.
So
I know this one girl, she was challenging herself with the only time she was allowed to watch TV is when she was walking on the treadmill, so that she could get some walking in during the day.
yeah.
It's a good idea.
And that's a great idea. And honestly, I've never met, and I've worked with a lot of older populations. I've worked with a lot of nursing homes. I've worked with a lot of elder populations. I've never once come across somebody at the end of their life who sat there and said, I wish I would have watched one more episode of that fill in the blank TV show.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever have I met somebody who said that.
Right.
So
It's not doing too much for you.
it's not fulfilling your life. It really isn't. So, I mean, just make the time, make the choice, and stay, hold yourself accountable to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Do we have time for one more? We can do one more.
Let's do, which one do you want to do?
Do we want to do calories in, calorie equals calories out? I think that's a pretty good one.
Okay.
I find that, and that's actually one that I used to tell clients and tell people coming into the gym when I was first a personal trainer, young, dumb, stupid.
And a lot of that is with like MyFitnessPal, like writing down all of your your food journal and stuff, so that you can compare to your Fitbit how many calories you burn for that day. That's definitely something I've done.
Yeah.
So why doesn't that work?
Well, I mean, one, not all calories are created equal.
Very true.
We've come across that before, but not. But also, I don't think the cardio machines, the Fitbit. I think it's a good reference. I think it gives you a good general understanding of how much your output is. but I wouldn't say that it's 100% accurate.
No.
Just like the way we prep our food, the way we cook our food is not going to be 100% accurate of this is 6 ounces of chicken and it's going to be X amount of calories.
Because if you look at it, if you measured it out, 6 ounces of chicken raw versus 6 ounces of chicken cooked, it's different.
Yeah, it holds differently. Yeah.
Once you cook that 6 ounces, it might turn into like 5, or I don't know the exact. But the
Conversion.
same thing with sweet potatoes. I used to, measure out sweet potatoes, and then once I baked them, then it would be different.
Right.
That's something that you're taking in account. And so that's why I really don't believe in doing the food journaling and weighing as much. If you can get away from that and just do more mindful eating and providing, filling your plate with better options is a better choice than, measuring out everything.
Yeah. And I always go, I go in spurts. There are times where I've worn a Fitbit and times where I haven't. And every time I'm pretty regimented. I'm pretty consistent with a lot of this stuff, with the amount of steps I get in a day, with the amount of calories I'm taking in a day, amount of calories I'm outputting in a day. It's pretty consistent to the point where I'll wear it for a month, 2 months, and I'm like, it's not telling me anything that I didn't know already.
Yeah.
So yes, it's good to have those tools to help you, to motivate you.
Yeah, if it does motivate you and it does get you started, then definitely use the tool.
Right. If
But
you're
don't rely
accountable
on
to that.
it.
Yeah.
Like you said, all calories aren't created equal. A lot of it has to depend on how your body responds to what you're eating. Is it spiking your insulin, your blood sugar level? Is your body being inflamed? And then burning that off is not going to be the same way as if you ate a fully nutritious meal and your body didn't respond that way.
It metabolizes it slower, you got the fiber included in there. And that's another thing with the smoothies and like I know a lot of people are into those smoothies. That's great, but your body's going to metabolize that different than having whole food. It's just that's how our body works. That's how our liver metabolizes.
It's not going to satisfy you.
Yeah, isn't that exactly. So, with the calories in, calories out one, I don't think we should be focused so much on that aspect. Yeah, pay attention to the types of calories you're putting into your body. Obviously, the fat from an avocado is going to be completely different than the fat from chips and Cheetos and bullshit type foods.
Right.
But to sit there and say that those 100 calories of Cheetos is equal to 100 calories of spinach, it's not. It's not going to be the same. It's not. Your body's not going to process it the same, and you're not even going to feel the same from it. So, you got to be really careful about some of that kind of stuff that you run into for sure.
I would like to see that comparison. It'd probably be 10 Cheetos to a pound of spinach.
Oh God, yeah.
So much more spinach. Then you get 10 little Cheetos.
Yeah, you'd probably be sitting there spinach out your ears with that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, he had some huge forearms, man.
I know.
He was a beast.
Those biceps.
Yeah, that guy was a man.
So are we gonna stop there for a minute?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to sort of.
We do have a lot more.
We do have a lot more.
So come back next week for Mythbuster number 2.
So for those, we're on to week 2 of our challenge. So keep up the good work, the hard work. If you felt like you did fall off a little bit, there's nothing that says you can't start it up get back on it this week. So don't all of a sudden say, oh, well, the 30-day challenge is over. I'm good until Thanksgiving. I don't need to pay attention to it. Jump back on. You're fine. Get back into it. Challenge yourself for the next 21 days.
And if you need any help or have any questions, reach out to us.
Yeah. We've loved the feedback on the 30-day challenge so far. So keep it up. All right, guys.
All right.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Bye.